Let me ask you something. Have you ever walked into a room, stood there for a good 10 seconds, and then thought, wait, what was I doing here? Welcome to the club. We meet every Thursday, if we can remember when Thursday is. Aging has a way of sneaking up on us, doesn't it? One day you're sprinting upstairs 2 at a time, and the next you're making sound effects just to get off the couch. Oof, ack, and why is my knee making that clicking noise? It's like your body turns into an old wooden ship, creaking, cracking, but still sailing. But here's the thing, aging doesn't mean the best years are behind you. In fact, for many people, the most freeing, enlightening, and joy-filled years happen after 60, 70, even 80. And yet, no one really tells you the truth about what happens as we age. They either sugarcoat it with stock photos of happy seniors doing yoga in a park, or they make it sound like a slow march toward irrelevance. We're not doing that here. In this video, we're pulling back the curtain. We'll talk about the unexpected, sometimes hilarious, sometimes frustrating truths about aging, backed by science, sprinkled with real-life stories, and always with the goal of helping you age not just gracefully but confidently. Before we begin, I want to make one thing clear. This video is for informational purposes only and is based on publicly available research. Everyone's health is different, so always consult your doctor or a qualified healthcare provider before making any changes to your lifestyle, diet, or exercise routine. Scientific knowledge is always evolving, and what works for one person may not work for another. Alright, let's jump into the first truth no one tells you about aging. Your body starts sending confusing messages, and sometimes they arrive postage due. You know how when you were younger, your body would whisper things like, "You're tired," or "You're hungry?" Now it just yells, "Surprise cramp," while you're sitting down to tie your shoe. Or you eat the exact same meal you've had for years, and suddenly your stomach acts like it's never seen spaghetti before. There's actually science behind this. As we age, our digestive system slows down, our metabolism drops, and even the way we process nutrients changes. A 2018 study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that older adults absorb certain vitamins, like B12 and D, less efficiently. That means fatigue, foggy memory, and even mood changes can sneak up on you. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because your body is quietly rewriting its own instruction manual. And while we're on the topic of confusion, let's talk about sleep. Remember sleep? That beautiful 8-hour stretch you used to take for granted? Aging has a tendency to turn that into a nightly game of will I fall asleep before sunrise? Or how many bathroom trips can one bladder make before 6 a.m.? Here's the reality. Your circadian rhythm, your body's natural sleep-wake cycle, changes as you get older. According to the National Institute on Aging, older adults tend to become sleepier earlier in the evening and wake earlier in the morning. Add in decreased melatonin production and more fragmented sleep, and suddenly you're negotiating with your own brain just to get a full night of rest. Now, is this a crisis? No. It just means we've got to adapt. That could mean adjusting your bedtime, creating a wind-down routine, or yes, maybe even swapping out late-night coffee for something gentler. Chamomile tea isn't just for your grandma anymore. You're the grandma now. Another truth people don't tell you? You get a lot better at saying no. And that's not a bad thing. There's a certain liberation that comes with age. Maybe it's the experience, maybe it's the sense of been there, done that, or maybe you're just too tired to deal with nonsense. Either way, you start valuing your time more, and that's a superpower. I know a woman named Linda. She's 73, hilarious, and sharp as a tack, who told me she stopped attending any event that required her to wear shoes that pinch. "If it hurts my feet or my peace, it's a no," she said. Wise words, Linda. And guess what? That mindset shift, where you prioritize what truly matters, has health benefits. Studies have shown that a strong sense of purpose and healthy boundaries can lower stress, improve sleep, and even reduce inflammation in the body. One Harvard Health article noted that people with a strong sense of life purpose had a 33% lower risk of dying early. So no, you're not becoming cranky. You're becoming strategic. We'll talk more about purpose, mindset, and emotional health in the next part. But let me leave you with one more little nugget. Aging isn't just about loss. Sure, some things get a bit creaky, but other things, like your sense of humor, your resilience, your ability to connect deeply with others, they often grow stronger. Yes, your memory might take a little vacation now and then. And yes, gravity has become a bit more aggressive. But aging is also about rediscovering who you are without all the pressure to prove yourself. In part 2, we'll dig deeper into the mental and emotional shifts that happen as we age, including the ones that catch us off guard. We'll talk about how aging changes your brain in some surprisingly great ways, what loneliness does to the body, and how you can strengthen your emotional resilience with just a few daily habits. So stick with me, because the truth about aging, it's not what you think, and it's definitely not all bad. Before we keep going, I'd love your help with something. If you're enjoying this video so far, comment Y below. If not, comment N. It helps me know what's working and what to improve. And don't forget to hit subscribe if you haven't yet. Now let's dive deeper. So we just talked about the unexpected physical changes, like your body turning into a creaky floorboard and your sleep acting like it's been hacked. But what really surprises people? The emotional shifts. And I don't mean suddenly crying at puppy commercials, although let's be honest, they get all of us. I'm talking about the big stuff: identity, purpose, connection. You know that feeling of walking into a grocery store and forgetting why you're there? That happens in life too, especially after retirement or once the kids are grown and off doing their own thing. You think, okay, now what? And it's disorienting, because for decades your life was filled with roles: parent, worker, spouse, caretaker. When those roles shift or disappear, it can feel like someone erased the labels off all your jars. You're still you, but now you're asking, what do I do with me? Turns out, this is totally normal. In fact, a 2020 study in psychology and aging found that after age 60, many people experience a second identity crisis, a time of reflection and sometimes confusion about who they are outside of their traditional responsibilities. But here's the good news. This can also be one of the most powerful reinvention phases of your life. You have wisdom. You have perspective. You no longer care what Karen from accounting thinks about your lunch choices. You've earned the right to be unapologetically you. I know a man named Tom. He was a dentist for over 40 years. After he retired, he told me he felt a little lost, like he had nothing to wake up for. One day, on a whim, he started painting landscapes from his travel photos. Fast forward 2 years, and now he sells his art online and teaches painting to other seniors at the community center. He said to me, "I didn't know I needed a new passion until I gave myself permission to try." That's the magic of aging. If you lean into it, you get to rediscover yourself. But, and this is important, not everyone feels inspired right away. Some people feel lonely, really lonely, and we need to talk about that. Loneliness isn't just a sad feeling, it's a serious health risk. A 2023 report from the US Surgeon General called loneliness a public health epidemic. Chronic loneliness can increase your risk of heart disease by 29%, stroke by 32%, and even boost the chances of dementia. It's sneaky too. You can be surrounded by people and still feel isolated, especially if the people around you don't really see you anymore. That's why staying socially active as we age is just as important as taking your vitamins. Now, that doesn't mean you need to sign up for salsa dancing if your hips haven't been enthusiastic since the Clinton administration. But it could mean joining a book club, volunteering, or even learning how to use Zoom so you can connect with family, even if they're across the country. And yes, there will be a week where you yell, "Can you hear me?" into the screen. That's tradition. Also, emotional resilience, your ability to bounce back from stress or sadness, actually improves with age. Isn't that wild? Studies, including one from the Stanford Center on Longevity, have shown that older adults tend to regulate their emotions better and feel more gratitude, compassion, and contentment than younger adults. You've been through things. You know storms pass, and that knowledge makes you more grounded. Now let's talk brain health, because if you've ever put your keys in the fridge or called your grandkid by the dog's name, you might be wondering, is this normal? Yes, mostly. Your brain, like the rest of your body, changes with age. Processing speed slows down, and recall might take a bit longer. That's why it can feel like names are on the tip of your tongue for days. But here's the kicker. While some memory functions decline, other areas like vocabulary, pattern recognition, and emotional intelligence actually improve. In other words, you might forget where you left your glasses, but you'll have a better understanding of people, emotions, and life in general. It's like your brain trades speed for wisdom. Not a bad deal, honestly. And there's a lot you can do to keep your brain sharp. Regular exercise, brain-stimulating activities like puzzles or learning a new skill, and, get this, social interaction are all linked to better cognitive function. Even laughter helps. A 2014 study found that laughter can improve short-term memory in older adults. So go ahead, watch that silly sitcom, tell dad jokes, laugh till you snort. It's brain medicine. And don't forget, your mindset plays a huge role. People who believe aging is a time of growth and opportunity tend to live longer and stay healthier than those who view it as decline. That's not wishful thinking, that's research. The Yale School of Public Health found that positive self-perceptions of aging can increase lifespan by up to 7.5 years. So yes, the world might send the message that getting older means fading into the background. But the truth? You're just stepping into a new chapter. A chapter where you get to say no to drama, yes to comfort, and maybe even wear socks with sandals if it makes you happy. No judgment. In the next part, we're going to talk about the real challenges that come with aging and how to overcome them with humor, grace, and a few surprising science-backed tricks. We'll dig into things like physical recovery, shifting relationships, and how to stay mentally resilient even when the world feels like it's moving too fast. Because the truth about aging, it's not just about surviving it, it's about thriving in it, with a wink, a laugh, and maybe a heating pad. Let's get real for a moment. Aging isn't all newfound wisdom and guilt-free naps. Sometimes it's frustrating. It's losing your balance while putting on socks. It's needing readers to read the back of a soup can. And it's wondering why your body now makes mysterious noises just from standing up. But here's the twist no one really talks about. Yes, there are challenges, but you get better at handling them. Let's start with the obvious one. Physical recovery takes longer. You twist your ankle at 25 and bounce back in a few days. You do the same thing at 70, and suddenly you're Googling ankle brace that matches orthopedic shoes. Why? Because as we age, muscle mass decreases, joint cartilage wears down, and cellular repair slows. It's biology, not betrayal. And yet, the solution isn't to slow down, it's to move smarter. You don't have to run marathons. Honestly, most of us are just trying to walk briskly without triggering a hip complaint. But incorporating light strength training, stretching, and regular movement can make a huge difference. A 2022 study from the Journal of Aging and Physical Activity showed that older adults who did 15 minutes of light strength work 3 times a week improved balance, mobility, and even mood. That's less time than it takes to lose your glasses and find them on your head. And let's talk about aches. Sometimes it feels like your body has a daily meeting where all the joints vote on who's going to act up today. Okay, team, knees on Monday, back on Tuesday, and let's let the neck surprise them Friday morning. Here's where humor helps. If you can laugh at the absurdity, it gets lighter. That's not just good advice, it's science. Laughter triggers endorphins, lowers stress hormones like cortisol, and even increases pain tolerance. So no, you're not being silly for joking about your creaky knees. You're actually hacking your own nervous system. Now let's shift gears to something deeper, relationships. Aging can shift your social circles dramatically. Friends move away, health changes limit how often you connect, and sometimes, heartbreakingly, you lose people you love. That kind of grief doesn't come with an expiration date. But here's what many people don't expect. New connections can be just as powerful, sometimes more. I met a woman named Carol at a wellness seminar. She was 78, had just lost her husband of 52 years, and said she felt like half a person walking around. But a year later, she joined a local walking group, not because she loved walking, but because she missed talking. Now she leads the group. She calls it her moving therapy. We're social creatures, and staying emotionally connected isn't just nice, it's necessary. Social bonds lower your risk of cognitive decline, reduce inflammation, and boost your immune system. Seriously, your friendships are like vitamins, just with better jokes and fewer side effects. Now for the curveball no one warns you about, technology overload. Let's face it, aging is hard enough without having to remember 12 passwords, troubleshoot your Wi-Fi, and figure out why your grandkid's latest message includes 47 emojis and a GIF of a dancing llama. And yet, staying connected digitally can be empowering. Video calls, online communities, even learning new tech skills. These things actually boost brain plasticity. One study from the University of California found that older adults who engaged with tech regularly showed stronger memory and attention than those who didn't. So next time you wrestle with a smartphone, remind yourself, you're not just texting. You're training your brain. With thumbs. But maybe the biggest challenge of all, the one that sneaks up on us, is staying mentally resilient when the world seems to move faster than ever, and you feel like you're being asked to keep up when honestly, you'd rather slow down and enjoy the view. Here's the truth, you don't need to keep up with everything. You just need to stay connected to yourself. That might mean embracing routines that bring you peace. Morning coffee in silence. Daily walks with your favorite music. Journaling. Prayer. Gardening. These aren't just hobbies, they're lifelines. A 2021 study in Frontiers in Psychology found that older adults who maintained daily rituals reported lower levels of anxiety and higher emotional satisfaction. You see, aging teaches you that you don't need constant stimulation or flashy success to feel fulfilled. What you crave and what matters is meaning. Moments of stillness. Moments that make you laugh so hard you have to hold your side. Or moments that make you whisper wow to no one in particular. Yes, there are challenges, slower healing, unpredictable energy, occasional loneliness. But the gift? You know how to endure. You've had decades of practice at picking yourself up, finding a way through, and telling your story with a smile. In fact, if there's one superpower most people unlock with age, it's this: you stop sweating the small stuff. You learn that mismatched socks won't end the world, and that it's okay to forget names, as long as you don't forget to laugh. You start choosing joy on purpose, because now you know how precious it is. And guess what? That mindset makes you stronger than most. Research even backs it up. A 2019 study in the gerontologist showed that older adults with high emotional flexibility, meaning they could adapt their thinking, reframe problems, and find humor, were more likely to stay mentally and physically well. So if you've ever been told that aging is all downhill, don't buy it. It's more like a winding scenic road with occasional potholes and some epic views. You may need to drive slower, but you're still headed somewhere beautiful. Coming up in the final part, we'll bring it all together. We'll talk about practical ways to take action, small steps that can make a big impact right now. We'll revisit the biggest takeaways, and I'll share one last scientific truth that will leave you feeling inspired and empowered. Because this journey of aging, it's not a decline, it's an evolution. Let's take a breath together, because if you've made it this far, you've just traveled through some of the most honest and empowering truths about aging. And hopefully, you're feeling a little less alone, a little more encouraged, and maybe even a lot more confident about this stage of life. So let's bring it all together. We've talked about the surprise changes, the creaky knees, the vanishing eyebrows, the sleep that plays hide and seek. We've explored the emotional shifts, the identity transitions, and how aging isn't just a physical transformation, but a psychological journey too. And let's not forget the quirks, forgetting why you walked into a room, or how your knees now narrate every move like old floorboards. But you've also seen the truth behind the stereotypes. You've learned that while some things slow down, other things like wisdom, emotional strength, and even vocabulary actually improve. You've seen that while physical recovery might take longer, your mental and emotional resilience only deepens. That there's beauty in stillness, humor in forgetfulness, and joy in every wrinkle that tells a story. And let me tell you something that researchers are only just beginning to understand. Your attitude toward aging can literally shape your future. Remember that Yale study we mentioned earlier? It wasn't a one-time fluke. The evidence keeps piling up. Your beliefs about aging affect your biology. One long-term study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that people with positive views about aging lived an average of 7.5 years longer than those with negative views. That's not magic. That's mindset. You might not be able to turn back the clock, but you can absolutely change how you move forward. So what can you do right now? You don't need to do a complete life overhaul. No one's asking you to start CrossFit or learn Mandarin, unless you want to. And if you do, please film it. What matters are the small, intentional steps that build momentum. Because aging isn't about giving things up, it's about choosing what matters most. Here are a few places to start. 1. Move every day. Doesn't have to be fancy. Stretch. Walk. Dance in your kitchen while waiting for your toast. Just remind your body you still live in it. 2. Eat to nourish, not punish. You don't have to go full kale mode, but adding colorful fruits, healthy fats, and staying hydrated can work wonders, not just for your body, but for your brain. 3. Stay connected. Call that friend. Join that group. Say yes to coffee, even if you're just going for the company and not the caffeine. 4. Keep learning. It doesn't matter what. Read a book, try a recipe, mess around with a musical instrument. Your brain loves novelty. Keep surprising it. 5. Laugh. A lot. Find joy wherever it hides. It's cheaper than therapy, better than Botox, and way more fun than complaining about your hip. And when those tough days come, and they will, don't beat yourself up. You've survived a lot to get here. Aging is proof you've lived. And the challenges? They're just part of the next adventure. I want to leave you with one last scientific gem. In 2021, researchers from University College London studied over 6,000 people aged 60 and older. They found that those who reported a strong sense of purpose were not only happier, but also more physically active, more socially engaged, and even had lower levels of inflammation. Purpose, it turns out, is like fuel for your whole system. So whether your purpose is painting, gardening, helping others, spending time with grandkids, or just waking up and being kind to the world, you matter. Your energy matters. Your story is still being written. Aging isn't something to dread. It's something to own. And if anyone tries to tell you otherwise, just smile and remind them, I've got more stories than your algorithm. So here's to you, your resilience, your curiosity, your humor, your perfectly imperfect joints. You are not fading. You are evolving. Stronger, wiser, and maybe just a little louder when you stand up. Let's end with a few small takeaways you can start today. Say one kind thing to yourself each morning. Move your body in a way that feels good, not punishing. Laugh at something, anything. Even if it's just the sound your knees made when you bent down. Connect with someone who lifts your spirit. And above all, give yourself credit. You've come a long way. You're still going strong. We'd really love to hear from you. If you have any suggestions for future topics or questions you want answered, write to us in the comments below. We're here to help, and your input could inspire our next video. And if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss out on more practical tips for healthy aging. Here's to living your best life at any age.